Good morning. Welcome to Thinking is Contagious. And I want to speak a little bit, a little different topic, not really dealing with the election at this point, but we just had the passing of Walter Williams. And Walter E. Williams was considered by many to be one of the great modern economists, if not the greatest modern economist. He died at 84, I think it was last week. And the Mises Institute, which is Ludwig von Mises, an institute which follows his economic theory, which is very much a trickle-down type of economic theory, something that I really believe in and adhere to, and have been a big fan of von Mises. And as people who know me well, the Mises Institute has a website, and a gentleman by the name of Gary Gallus wrote an article entitled "The Wisdom of Walter Williams." And in this article, he points out some of the great sayings from Mr. Williams, and I think they warrant being brought out here. I want to mention them. There's 10 of them. And it's in light of what's happening in this country and what's happening with socialism and the push towards communism and the twisted and ignorant mindsets of Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, AOC, the Squad, all these people who profess to garner, control, power by buying people off with crumbs, getting them addicted to the government dole, teaching them not to work but to depend on the government. And then that dependence creates job security for these socialists, and they are the people that are the biggest enemy of this country, and they are the people that you need to fear, and they are the people you need to keep out of office, because our futures, our kids' futures, our grandkids' futures depend on it. Let me give you a few of these, and this is from Walter Williams. My definition of social justice: I keep what I earn, you keep what you earn. Do you disagree? Okay. How much of what I earn belongs to you, and tell me why? It's a great argument. It's a great point to make with when you encounter these socialists. How much of what I earn belongs to you, and tell me why? Here's another one. If one person has a right to something he did not earn, of necessity it requires that another person not have a right to something that he or she did earn. Another one. Nothing in our Constitution suggests that government is a grantor of rights. Instead, government is a protector of rights. There is no moral argument that justifies using the coercive powers of government to force one person to bear the expense of taking care of another. Here's one I love. Government has no resources of its own. Government spending is no less than the confiscation of one person's property to give it to another to whom it does not belong. So apropos. Okay, how about this one? We don't have a natural right to take the property of one person to give to another. Therefore, we cannot legitimately delegate such authority to government. Interesting. Exercise of a right by one person does not diminish those held by another. No matter how worthy the cause, listen to this one, no matter how worthy the cause, it is robbery, theft, and injustice to confiscate the property of one person and give it to another to whom it does not belong. Here's one. The better I serve my fellow man, the greater my claim on the goods my fellow man produces. That's the morality of the market. And this is, in a nutshell, today. The act of reaching into one's own pocket to help a fellow man in need is praiseworthy and laudable. Reaching into someone else's pocket is despicable. That's what your government does today. Liberty versus coercion. We have some thoughts. Government is about coercion. Limiting government is the single most important instrument to guarantee liberty. Limiting government is the single most important instrument to guarantee liberty. Democracy is a little more than mob rule, while liberty refers to the sovereignty of the individual. The true test of one's commitment to liberty and private property rights comes when we permit people to be free to do those voluntary things with which we disagree. In a free society, government has a responsibility of protecting us from others, but not from ourselves. The essence of government is force, and most often that force is used to accomplish evil ends. The essence of government is force, and most often that force is used to accomplish evil ends. Economic planning is nothing more than the forcible superseding of other people's plans by the powerful elite, backed up by the brute force of government. If we buy into the notion that somehow property rights are less important or in conflict with human or civil rights, we give the socialists a freer hand to attack our property. That is very true. Substituting democratic decision-making for what should be private decision-making is nothing less than tyranny dressed up. This is the Democrats today, substituting democratic decision-making for what should be private decision-making is nothing less than tyranny. It's government people, not rich people, who have the power to coerce and make our lives miserable. Again, hits the nail on the head with the liberal agenda today, that they blame the rich for everything. Listen to it. It is government people, not rich people, who have the power to coerce and make our lives miserable. The moral tragedy that has befallen Americans is our belief that it is okay for government to forcibly use one American to serve the purpose of another. That, in my book, is a working definition of slavery. That's what the Democrats are. And we've mentioned it on the program before, the party of slavery. And this encompasses and embodies their platform. I'm going to read it again. The moral tragedy that has befallen Americans is our belief that it is okay for government to forcibly use one American to serve the purpose of another. That, in my book, is a working definition of slavery. Finally, some quotes about practicing our rights and liberties. Always be suspicious of those who claim their way is the best way and are willing to force their way on the rest of us. People who denounce the free market and voluntary exchange are for control and coercion. AOC. Economic planning is nothing more than the forcible superseding of other people's plans by the powerful elite backed up by the brute force of government. Politicians have immense power to do harm to the economy, but they have very little power to do good. That is the truth. What our nation needs is a separation of business and state. That would mean crony capitalism and crony socialism could not survive. The best good thing that politicians can do for the economy is to stop doing bad. In part, this can be achieved through reducing taxes and economic regulation and staying out of our lives. If we care about our remaining liberties, we must at some point let politicians and bureaucrats know we will not tolerate further encroachment on our God-given rights to liberty. We're at that point right now. We're at that point right now. The public good is promoted best by people pursuing their own private interests. I love this one. The public good is promoted by people pursuing their own private interests. Most of the great problems we face are caused by politicians creating solutions to problems they created in the first place. Perfect. Joe Biden, this is, when you look up Joe Biden, this is the definition. 8 years, Obama, Biden. Think about it. Manufacturing, gone. Farms, shut down. Supply chain, offshore. All a product of 8 years of Obama, Biden. And then listen to this quote. Most of the great problems we faced are caused by politicians creating solutions to problems they created in the first place. And then here comes Joe Biden say, we're going to bring jobs back to America. You're the one who sent them offshore. Trump brought them back. Okay, if we're ignorant, we won't even know when government infringes on our liberties. These are the liberals. Moreover, we'll happily cast our votes for those who destroy our liberties. Everyone voted for Biden. Everyone voted for Kamala. If we're ignorant, we won't even know when government infringes on our liberties. Moreover, we'll happily cast our votes to those who destroy our liberties. Walter Williams, a very wise man, a man who great experiences. And I think a lot of what we've just read out to you worth pondering and worth thinking about as we move forward. But one thing I know for sure, we cannot let socialism or communism continue the crawl into our lives. Little by little, they are eroding our liberties. And it's up to us to stop that. And again, never an advocate of any type of violence, never an advocate of any type of aggression, never an advocate of any type of physical undertaking to forward our agenda. It's intellectual. It's educating people. It's exposing them and letting them analyze and letting them think. All right, I hope that this is different, but I think it's apropos. Thank you for your time. Have a good day.